For these two examples, there's two different ways that you can evaluate. So they give you f of x, and they want you to find f inverse of 4. One way to do that is the following. For f of x, I'm just going to leave this open as an ordered pair, okay? And then f inverse of x, they want you to, when they say find f inverse of 4, plug in 4 for x. So one thing to notice for inverses is if you plug in 4 for x for the inverse, the pattern or the rule is that this x coordinate here would be the y coordinate for f of x. So what you can do in order to find the missing value is plug in 4 for y into f of x. So again, if I plug in 4 for y, all I'm doing is replacing f of x with 4. So in other words, you're trying to find the x coordinate when the y coordinate is 4, right? That's what we're trying to figure out. What is the x coordinate when the y coordinate is 4? So if I plug in 4 for y, in order to solve this, I would have to subtract 4 from both sides. 4 minus 4 is 0. So 0 is equal to 3x. And if I divide by 3, 0 divided by any number is still 0. So that means when I plugged in 4 into the inverse function, I got 0. So that means the coordinates for f of x, if I plug in 0, you would get 4. So f inverse of 4 is equal to 0. That's one way to do this. A second way to do this is to find the inverse of this function. So let's do that down here. So to find the inverse, the first step is to replace f of x with y, because they're exactly the same thing. And then we're going to switch the x and the y, and then we solve for x. So it becomes x equals 3y plus 4. So to get y alone, I'm sorry, I wrote solve for x, I meant solve for y, sorry. So to get y alone, I would subtract 4 from both sides. So I get x minus 4 is equal to 3y, and then you divide both sides by 3. So there's my inverse. My inverse is x minus 4 over 3. So if this is my inverse, and I want to find f inverse of 4, that just means plug in 4 for x. So 4 minus 4 over 3 is 0 divided by 3, which is still 0. So we got the exact same answer using two different methods. So for this example, let's try it both ways. So again, g of x, we're going to leave that ordered pair open, and then g inverse of x. What this is asking is saying plug in 15 for x, what do you get for y? Well, if I plug in 15 for the x, that means for g of x, the 15 would be the y coordinate. So I could find my missing values here, which are identical, by plugging in 15 for g of x, or 15 for y. So 15 equals x plus 1 all over 2. So to solve this, the opposite of dividing by 2 would be multiplying both sides by 2. So 30 is equal to x plus 1. One last step, subtract 1 from both sides. So 29 is equal to x. So g inverse of 15 is equal to 29. Let's find our answer a different way. Let's actually find the inverse of g of x. So the first step is to replace g of x with y, right? So I got y is equal to x plus 1 all over 2. Then you replace the x and the y, or switch the x and the y. So it becomes x equals y plus 1 over 2, and then you solve for y. So the opposite of dividing by 2 would be multiplying both sides by 2. So I get 2x is equal to y plus 1. One more step, subtract 1 from both sides. So I got 2x minus 1 is equal to y. So the inverse, g inverse of x, is equal to 2x minus 1. So if this is my inverse and I want to find g inverse of 15, that's saying plug in 15 for x. So if I plug in 15 for x, I would have 2 times 15 minus 1, which is 30 minus 1, which is the same as 29.